Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie, and today's video we're going to be talking about exclusive pumping, exclusive breastfeeding, and why you can do both. You can pump and breastfeed at the same time, and the reasons why I choose to do both. So if you're interested in knowing what exclusive pumping is and exclusive breastfeeding is, then keep on watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Alright, so first things first, what is exclusive pumping? So exclusive pumping is when your baby is still breastfed, just breast milk, but they don't actually latch on. So you don't actually nurse them, you just pump all day and you just feed your baby your breast milk in a bottle. A lot of people choose to exclusively pump because maybe they have latching issues or they're just more comfortable with pumping and knowing how much they're feeding their baby. It's the same thing as breastfeeding. You just don't actually nurse your baby. Your baby is still getting fully breast milk. I do not exclusively pump myself, but I have considered it, especially whenever I feel like Leo gets older and he gets teeth, and I guess we'll see when it gets there. So you have to constantly pump to make sure that your baby has milk for every day and at every feeding. So that is basically what exclusively pumping is. So exclusive breastfeeding is just that. You just exclusively breastfeed. You don't pump. You don't give your baby bottles. You just latch your baby on all the time and that's it. You just breastfeed your baby. And honestly, I give props to so many women that just exclusively breastfeed because it's hard. I personally do both. I pump and I breastfeed, and I'm going to talk about a few reasons why I choose to pump, because at the end of the day, if I wanted to, I probably could just exclusively breastfeed Leo. At the beginning of many women's breastfeeding journeys, the lactation consultants at the hospital, when your baby's born and your baby's pediatrician, they advise you to just exclusively breastfeed, especially like the first, I think it was the first 4 weeks is what they told me. And you know, that's fine. That's what they're supposed to advise you. And it is good for your baby to just exclusively nurse at the beginning. That way they can get used to it and they don't get confused with a bottle and your nipple. And at the end of the day, I feel like you should do what is more comfortable with you and just what works better with you and your routine and your baby. I exclusively breastfed Leo for the first 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, that's when I started pumping and being able to give Leo bottles, because just breastfeeding was hard work. I felt like I constantly had to be available 24/7 for him to eat. And if I wasn't around, then he was gonna starve. And so the first and major reason why I decided to pump is because you have so much freedom. And by freedom, I mean that you can pump and then your partner or your friends or family, they can feed your baby and you don't have to worry about being there at a certain time for your baby to eat. It was really relieving to know that I can go take a shower for 30 minutes and relax and not have to worry about, oh my God, it's time for Leo to eat and I gotta go back so he can nurse. I would just pump, put everything in a bottle, and then Felix would feed him. And so that's the major reason why I started pumping. So when I started to pump, I would just make sure that he had milk ready. That way he would have bottles and I wouldn't have to worry about it. And if I ever had to go take a shower, if I ever like wanted to just get things done around the house and it was time for him to eat, my boyfriend would feed him, or if anybody came over, like a lot of the times my in-laws would come or my parents would come and somebody was like, oh, can I feed him? And I didn't have to be like, oh no, you know, like I have to nurse him myself, which is fine if that's what you choose to do, but it was just more comfortable for me to be able to pump and not have to constantly be available 24/7. The second reason why I decided to pump and to nurse was because I had to work, and so I had to make bottles. That way Leo was able to eat while I'm working. I wanted Leo to still be fully on my breast milk, and that way he could have bottles while I'm at work and I wouldn't have to worry about going on break or going on lunch and being like, oh my God, I have to nurse Leo, and kind of make my work schedule around nursing him, because it just doesn't really work that way when you're working. And so that's one of the major reasons why I pump, is because of work. The third reason why I pump and why I talked about exclusively pumping at the beginning was because I'm not sure if I'm gonna still be nursing whenever Leo gets teeth. He has bit me already once and he doesn't even have teeth yet, and it was very painful. So I have thought about maybe just exclusively pumping once he actually gets his teeth in, but I'm not sure. I feel like I could teach him not to bite me because there's a lot of ways that you can teach your babies not to bite you whenever they get teeth, and you can successfully breastfeed until whenever you want. But I have considered exclusively pumping just in case for some reason I decide not to nurse anymore, and so I'm still gonna want him to be on my breast milk and I'm gonna be able to just exclusively pump if I wanted to. But that's another reason why I pump. That way he's used to a bottle now and he is okay with having a bottle or with nursing. So I feel like if I decided to not nurse anymore and just exclusively pump, he would be okay with it. I feel like it would be a little hard at the beginning because you have to slowly wean your babies off of nursing, because if you completely cut it out cold turkey, you're probably going to have a really cranky and angry baby because they get very attached to you and they get very attached to nursing. But that is one of the reasons why I talked about exclusively pumping. And then the last reason why I decided to pump while I nurse was to build a stash. And you don't have to build a stash unless you plan on having your baby on your milk for a certain amount of time. I'm building up my stash because I want to make sure that Leo has my breast milk until he's at least a year old. And if for some reason I ever get sick or something happens and I just can't nurse anymore, I know that I have a safe stash enough for him to make it to a year. And so that is why I started pumping, to make a stash, is because I just want him to have my breast milk up to a year. After that, then I'm okay with whatever. And if he can't have it up to a year, I just want to make sure that I have enough breast milk for him to make it as close to that as possible. And that's just my personal goal. You know, everyone has certain goals. Beginning when I started breastfeeding, I was honestly just like, if I make it to a month, I make it to a month, because it was so rough for me at the beginning. And then I slowly started doing like little milestones. I was like, okay, if I make it to 3 months, I'm okay. And now my goal is just to make it to a year of breastfeeding. So we'll see how it goes. So far, so good. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's video. I just wanted to give you guys some options of why you can pump and you can nurse at the same time. You don't have to choose just one or the other if you don't want to. At the end of the day, it is your choice and it's whatever makes you happy. So definitely let me know if you liked today's video. Hit like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.